What's up, everybody? It's your girl Cha Cha reporting live from the Cosmic Club, and welcome back to another episode of Off the Charts. This is an amazing show where we talk about mindset and money, right? I am your host, Cha Cha. You can follow me on Instagram at money, Money, mantra, Mantra, cha, Cha, on Instagram to check out everything that I do. One thing that I really love to do is just to give people information and opportunities that they may not have been exposed to um, before on a daily basis. I know that I'm in the business of sharing information and helping people advance because if somebody didn't share information with me, then I wouldn't be where I am today in a position to spread this knowledge and information to you. If you haven't had a chance to check out Off the Charts and to see the vibe and the type of topics that I talk about, you can head over to my channel, right? And you'll see the off the charts playlist. So season one was just really versatile. Season two focused on a book called The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Waddles. It's absolutely amazing. In season three, we're going to get into a bit more random topics, just really helping you to maybe correct your thinking and just to help you advance. What one of my major goals is to help people understand that you are in control of your life, you are in control of your thoughts. You can actually choose where you want your life to be. If you feel like where you're at right now is not where you want to be, then you can completely change that, because past results have nothing to do with your future. And that's word to Bob Proctor. Was honestly one of my favorite mindset mentors. One of the programs that really helped change my life in the way that I think and the way that I carry myself is actually called You Were Born Rich, which you can also find on YouTube by Mr. Bob Proctor. Now, this is a seminar that came out in 1988, but the information is not dated. It's completely relevant to today. It's something that I still listen to this day. And Off the Charts is going to give you a little bit of that information as well. It may not be as in depth, but it is going to be hopefully something I say hits home. I highly encourage you to get your notebooks out, get your pens, get your paper, pull up your notes, right? And just really, really, really write down things that stick out to you during today's session. So today we're really going to be talking about the source of your information and how that really influences your results. So the greatest example that I like to use, or I pull on this example all the time, is that when you were in high school, right, when you were in elementary school, or even those who had the privilege or opportunity to go to college, if you were writing a paper, there was never really um, one source, right? You had to pull from different things in order to be able to get this cohesive understanding of what you were trying to explain or what you were trying to get across in your paper. It's the same thing when it comes to your thoughts, right? You have to figure out where are you getting these things from, where are you getting these ideas from, and how are they actually influencing the way that your life is now. So it's pretty interesting. A lot of us, and this is another example I give a lot of the time, a lot of us didn't choose a lot of things about how our life is now, right? We didn't choose maybe to be where we are. We didn't choose our names. We didn't choose the first language that we spoke. So how can we have chosen our first ideas about money? Now I want you to just take about 15 to 20 seconds. I'm not going to take a lot of your time today, but I do want you to take like 15 to 20 seconds to sit and think about who influenced your ideas about money. When you were growing up, did you grow up in a household with parents or guardians who were always anxious about money? Did they tell you that you didn't have enough? Did your friends and the rest of your family members, how do they feel about money? And do you actually have any real examples of wealth in your life that you can draw from? Now, a lot of people are content where they are. But I need you to understand that where you are today is not all you'll ever be, especially if where you are now is not something that you're satisfied with. So you have to decide, like, how did I get here? How can I understand where I'm at? And how can I understand where I'm going? Now, humans are just very interesting creatures. And we can be programmed to do and behave a certain way. So let's just say if you always find yourself in a rut about money, you never seem to have enough money, your ends don't ever seem to meet, and you're constantly stressed, and you find yourself always saying things like, it's always like this always happens to me, I'm never going to have enough. I really want you to examine, where did those thoughts come from, right? Because something that I really want you to understand through this program and through other information and sources that you find, other books that you read, is that um you've been programmed to be the way you are. And essentially a lot of us have been set up for failure. Another thing Bob Proctor would say is that if you're not growing, you're going the other direction, which means that you're not doing anything at all. So if you're consistently seeing things that are telling you to spend money, you're consistently seeing things that, or hearing people talk about money in a negative way, that's going to influence how you feel about money, even though it may not be true. Now, personally, myself, I didn't grow up in a super wealthy household. We were always okay. But as far as finances in my older age now, I've seen just how different life could be. But these are things that I was never exposed to as a child. Um, the only way, the only rich people that I really saw, honestly, were celebrities, athletes, actresses, people that were on television. But I didn't know that there were other ways that people could generate wealth. And it really starts with your mindset. It really starts with your mind. It really starts to what you are exposing yourself to. Now, if you find that you're somebody who actually wants to be a wealthy person, you want to be rich, another thing I need you to question is, are you actually studying what rich people do? Do you have any wealthy people that you can draw from right now that are not celebrities that will actually give you information and tools to get to the places that they are at? Again, if somebody wants to be a dancer, right, they're going to study other dancers, right? If somebody wants to be a painter, they may study other painters. If you want to be a doctor, right, you're going to go to school to be a doctor. And same thing with law, teaching. All of these things have a concrete path, and it shows you how to get to that destination, right? It shows you exactly how to get there. There's a pathway to achieve the things that you want to achieve. But if you want to be rich, like, who do you study? Who do you turn to? Who do you look to? And there's a wealth of information out there that you can pull from, that can really get you in the right mindset to let you know that wealth, opportunity, and abundance is also available to you. Now, when I first heard this concept was new to me. To have people around me telling me that you can be rich, right? Again, I'm always going to go back to Bob Proctor. His seminar is called "You Were Born Rich." That was something that really I had to really think about. I had to dissect, and I had to understand that everything that I want, everything that I could desire, is already inside of me, and it just comes to really changing my frequency to get in alignment with those things. Now, this is a really cool fact, right? That you maybe never have pondered, but every dollar that you would want into your account is already out there in the world. It's just not in your account, right? Every opportunity that you want is already out there. You just haven't gotten that opportunity yet. Now, I also need you to understand that everything in the world is happening simultaneously at the same time. So, the person who's going to give you the opportunity that you're looking for is out there in the world, but maybe you guys just don't have it cross paths. Now, how do you get there? You have to position yourself to meet those people. You have to position yourself to win. You have to educate yourself, and you have to essentially get in alignment by first setting the intention that that is what you want to do. Now, for people who are on this call now, and for people who may be watching later, I want you to really sit and think for a second. How much money do you actually want to have? Right? How much money do you actually want to make? Right now, a lot of people may say $100,000 because that's the first six-figure number. A lot of people may say they want to make $1 million, but do you actually know any millionaires right now? Right? Are you actually pulling from their experience to influence your experience? Right? There, like I said, there's a wealth of information online that you can find. Honestly, you can Google millionaires, right? Millionaires, like habits of millionaires. Another great book that I recommend is called Tools of Titans. And it just pretty much shows you different things that different wealthy and rich people have done to get where they are today. Because if you've never been taught something, especially from a younger age, then you're gonna have to learn that thing yourself. And it may be a learning curve, it may be hard, but you have to understand that the thoughts that you accept are what's going to become your reality. Now, taking it back to what I said at the beginning, if you're always saying things like, this always happens to me, I don't have enough money, and you're just putting these limited thoughts on yourself, how can you be surprised that that's what's happening in your life if that's the exact thing that you're manifesting, right? It seems like it doesn't make sense, but the more that you think about that concept, the more it actually does make sense. You're thinking these things, therefore manifesting these things into your life. Have you ever noticed if you woke up on the wrong side of the bed and you're having a bad day, then you continue to have a bad day? It's because you're keeping yourself in that energy when you can simply choose that this is not what I want to think about, right? This is not how I want to feel. And then really ask more questions to get down to the source of those thoughts, right? Like who, and I think I may actually title this video that, like, who taught you that? Right? Who taught you that there's not enough money to go around? Who taught you that the only way to build wealth and success is to have a traditional 9 to 5 job? Who taught you that struggle was the way to go about life? Because it's honestly not. What I've learned since just being in a community of other entrepreneurs and people who are building wealth is that we weren't given the appropriate knowledge. A lot of us weren't taught the right financial literacy. A lot of us were taught things in math and science that don't really apply to our lives right now. It's not really practical. But you can look around and see, and this is a big thing that I see on social media myself. I'll see people living these extravagant lifestyles, people who are living the lifestyle that I essentially want to create for myself. So I just have to question, how did this person get there? And to be honest, it all comes down to mindset. This person set a goal for themselves, and then they went after that goal like vehemently, like they attacked that goal, they focused on nothing but that goal. um and in order to be able to receive this information and to take the proper steps to get your life in a position that's better than it is now, you have to be willing to give up some of the knowledge and information that you already know. You have to be willing to accept that maybe you weren't taught the right thing. You have to accept that maybe you weren't given the best opportunities. You have to accept that maybe your parents didn't teach you the right thing. Maybe they didn't have the tools or resources that they needed to create the type of life that you see for yourself. So how can you change that? One thing that really intrigues me is that when people are consistently like, "Oh, well, my mother didn't do this or my father didn't do this," and they're blaming all of their problems on other people. And granted, that person may have set you up for what you don't seem as winning. They may have set you up for what seems like failure right now because you're not where you want to be. However, you have the power to change that. Right now, I just want everybody to take 5 seconds and say, I have the power to change that. Right? Like, have you ever been in a working situation that you just weren't happy with? So in the midst of that, you just decided, you know what, I'm going to apply for other jobs. Right? You first set the intention that you didn't want to work there anymore, that you were going to look for another job, and then you may have applied for that job and gotten that job. But if you never thought that you were so dissatisfied with where you were, and you never thought that there were other opportunities out there, you would have not taken the first steps to transition out of where you didn't want to be to get to where you did want to be. Now, again, this has happened to me a bunch of times as well. I would think that I wasn't happy at one job, then I would start thinking about finding another job, then I would find another job and I would be satisfied temporarily, and then I would just keep myself in this cycle because I wasn't thinking the right way. Like, all I was thinking was I have to get myself out of this situation, but the only thing I knew was to work. So, of course, my next logical thought was to find another job, right? But then when I started talking to other people who decided, what if you decide that you actually don't want another job? Right? What if that's something that you decide, and that's something that I decided for myself in 2020. Again, I had to first set that intention within myself that this is not something that I want to do. This is not something that I like to do, and I started to take steps to do other things that essentially made me or put me in a better position to be financially free. Right? It put me in a better position to have time freedom where I can essentially do what I wanted and also make enough money at the same time. Now, this won't be for everybody, but I decided to venture into entrepreneurship. I decided to venture into investing. And that's how I actually came across the foreign exchange market. And that's something that I've been doing for 2 years. And it's actually allowed me to make more money, right, than I've ever seen. But it all started with a thought, right? It all started with a thought. I decided that I was not happy where I was at, right? So I had to look for other opportunities and take the steps to actually get there. Now, this isn't something that happened overnight, but as I started to walk in the direction of the path that I chose for myself, I started to hit what I would call a positive plateaus within my experience of on my journey to wealth. Right now, positive plateau is just it's a milestone that you hit in your journey to where you want to be. Like, a lot of people think that success is a destination. They think that you're just gonna wake up one day and then success is gonna be there, but success is about the journey, right? If somebody is on a weight loss journey and their goal may be to lose 10 pounds, they're not going to lose 10 pounds overnight. But as they lose 2 pounds, they lose 3 pounds, they lose 4 pounds. Had they not first set that mental intention that they wanted to lose weight, had they not first saw their dream body in their head, they would have never started exercising, right? They would have never started eating right. Hence, they would have never started to get the results that they were actually looking for. And to be honest, this is the same exact thing that you have to do when it comes to building wealth. If you aren't happy where you are, you have to look at the images that you have in your mind of wealth. Are you starving yourself financially, right? Are you keeping yourself in that position, or are you keeping your options open as to what success looks like for you and how you're actually going to get those results, right? And again, this all starts with a thought. Every single thing that you could imagine, the computer or phone that you're watching this on right now, the clothes that you're wearing, anything that you can physically see, hold, touch, or experience, right? Think about the movies you've seen, the places you've been. This all started with a thought in somebody's head, right? So if we can come to the conclusion that thoughts become things, what are you thinking and how has that manifested into your life? Do you have positive thoughts about money, or are you consistently thinking negative things, therefore manifesting negative things into your life? And are you in a position to be open to say, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. I actually want to think different things, right? I actually want to experience different things. I actually want to feel different things. Then you can do that. And I think that's just one of the coolest things about the human experience is that we're one of the only animals on the planet who can actually take control of our experience and decide where we want to go next with that, right? Thoughts become things. I'm gonna say that again. Thoughts become things. So who is programming you? What type of thoughts are you seeing on a daily basis? What type of things are you consuming on social media? What type of conversations are you having with your friends? What conversations are you having with your family, with your partner? Right. And if these things seem to always be about the same thing, you have those friend groups, you have those coworkers, and you have people in your life who are constantly complaining without taking the active steps to make change, then how can you expect to make change in your life if that's not something that you're putting into your mind? Right. Now, a simple way to say this would be what goes in is exactly what comes out. So if you're constantly hearing negative things, you're constantly having these negative experiences, you're constantly hanging around these negative people, then you can only equate that your results will be negative as well. Now, I highly encourage you just to start look at the source of where you're getting your information. I encourage you to question the thoughts that you have about yourself, question the thoughts that you have about your self-esteem, question the thoughts that you have about your finances, question the thoughts that you have about working and see where those things came from. Maybe you're always working because your parents always work and then their parents always work. So you have come to the conclusion based on what you've seen, based on what you've heard, and based on what you've experienced that working hard and working long is the only way to achieve results and live the life that you want to live. But I may be the first person to tell you this that that's absolutely not true. You have people who are sitting at home on computers that are making money, right? Whether that be from social media management, whether that be from investing, right? There are different ways to go about getting what you want, but you have to be open to learning these new ways and unlearning the things that you've been doing before. And like I said, just question the source as to where your beliefs and where your thoughts are actually coming from, right? And again, if you don't like those beliefs and you don't like those thoughts, then you have the power to completely change it. And I think that's really the moral of the story. Question what you're looking at. Question what you're seeing. Are the types of things that you're consuming on social media, the types of pages you follow, the types of people you follow, are they in alignment with what you're saying you want for your life? Or are you allowing their experience to dictate your experience? Right? Now, that could be a hard pill to swallow for somebody because you're like, oh, these are my friends from high school. These are celebrities that I like. But are those celebrities helping you build wealth? Right? Or are you just attracted to what they have? Right? But how did they get there? Do you think that they just woke up overnight? Woke up and became a success stories overnight, or do you think that it was a journey to get there, right? And I know you guys have all heard this before, but a journey of 1,000 miles really begins with a single step. So it's the same thing when it comes to achieving your goals, whether these are personal goals, whether these are fitness goals, relationship goals, and especially financial goals. Are you currently taking the steps to get there, or are you just expecting things to change? Do you think that hoping and wishing is going to be enough to propel you into the position that you want to be? Right? You have to really start to study millionaires, right? You have to study billionaires. You have to study people who have found financial success and are already where you want to be. If you want to make $250,000 a year, I suggest that you find people who have made $250,000 a year and see the type of things that they've done to obtain that type of success. Now, what you are going to find in your studies, and maybe I can make it a little bit easier for you, is that a lot of it started with the mindset. right? I know everybody has heard this quote as well. If you believe something, you can achieve something, right? And that I just really want you just to repeat that. If I believe it, I can achieve it. If I believe it, I can achieve it. If I believe it, I can achieve it. If I can believe it, I can achieve it, right? And the only way that you're not going to get to that goal, the only way you're not going to reach that financial success, the only way you're not going to reach true time and financial freedom and happiness is if you decide that you don't want to go there, right? Now, if I plan a trip, right, this could be a road trip. If I plan a road trip from here, let's just say an hour or two road trip, the first thing I had to do was set the intention that this is a place that I want to go. And I had to know exactly why I wanted to go there, right? I had to have a feeling and desire to want to go to this place, right? And then I had to actually decide that I was actually going to go there. So then the next step, I had to gather my things, gather the resources, gather the things I needed, get gas in my car, pack up my bags, and I just had to head in that direction, right? Now I want you guys to really tell me what will stop me from reaching that destination, right? What would stop me from reaching that destination other than the fact that I didn't get in my car or I just decided to stop driving halfway, right? I know we've all been driving and the weather just changed. Maybe it started raining, maybe it started snowing. And if you live in different parts of the world, maybe the weather just, it was one way at first, but then it was another way. Are you going to cancel your trip, cancel your destination, and cancel your plans just because a conflict arises, right? If you're driving in that direction and you're so intentional about getting to where you want to be, do you stop trying to go to that place just because maybe there's a roadblock? Do you stop trying to go to that place just maybe because there's an accident on the road? Do you stop trying to go to that place just because it's taking a little bit longer than you thought it would take? Or because you've already set off in that direction, your intention and your desire to reach that place is so strong, you're going to keep going, right? You're going to keep going. And again, it's the same thing when it comes to your financial goals. First, decide what it is that you want, right? And decide why is it that you want that thing, right? And you don't have to justify this with me. You don't have to justify this with anybody. You just have to justify it with yourself, right? Maybe you want to reach financial success because you're tired of borrowing money and depending on other people when you can't make ends meet. Maybe you're tired of working and you just never found a job that you really mesh with, but you still know that you need money to survive. Maybe you want to spend more time with the people you love, right? Maybe you want to travel the world and just have more fun. Like whatever your reason is, you have to decide this is where I'm going, right? And this is why I want to go there, right? Once you decide those two things, next you start gathering your resources and figuring out what do you actually need for this journey and for this trip, right? What do you need to be financially free? Have you ever looked that up, or have you just been recycling the same thoughts in your head, or are you open to new thoughts, right? What is it that you need for this trip, right? And I can tell you right now, you need a positive mindset, you need discipline, you need desire, right? You have to want this thing so bad that you can taste it, right? You have to literally visualize money flowing into your account because it's not impossible. Just because it's never happened before, that doesn't mean that it cannot happen for you, right? So you gather what you need for this trip, you do your research, you read your books, you hop on seminars, you listen to programs like Off the Charts, right? I have another program called the Digital Dash that's geared specifically towards entrepreneurs. You figure out what you need, right? You pack up your um hypothetical car and you get going. Right now, again, I'll be the first to tell you that there will be bumps in the road. I can be the first to tell you that the road to success is not a linear path. Success is the journey itself. But I don't want you to stop just because things get hard. I don't want you to stop just because people aren't believing in you. I don't want you to stop just because your parents don't agree, your spouse doesn't agree, your coworkers don't agree, right? Your vision that's been placed in your heart is for you, right? And that's something that only you can see, and it may be something that only you can understand, and that's perfectly fine as well, because you were placed here for a reason, and that's the reason why you have this intense desire to do better and to have more. I don't want you to feel bad about wanting to be wealthy. I don't want you to feel bad about wanting to be successful. And if you do feel bad about those things, that's something to question, right? Why do I feel bad? Do I feel bad because the people around me don't have these same desires? Again, I'll be the first to tell you, everybody cannot go with you, right? Sometimes obtaining a level of success that you've never seen or been introduced to, it can be intimidating to other people, right? You will lose a lot of people on your journey and your ascension to financial success, because you got to remember everybody wasn't taught the same thing. And no matter how old you are or when this video finds you, you may feel like you're late to the game. But the moment that you understand this information and the moment that you decide that you want something different, you have to understand that everybody's not going to understand that, because maybe they haven't had those revelations yet. Maybe somebody's never told them that they have the opportunity to be rich and to be wealthy. Maybe somebody's never told them that they have an option to choose the direction that their life can go, right? Now, a lot of times, based on the way society is set up, it is based on fear. You may feel limited. You may feel like these options and opportunity are not open to you. But again, I need you to question, who's the source of that information? Were you the kid who always had extensive dreams and you wanted to do all these things, but then you had people in your life shutting you down or telling you, oh, you just dreaming. Oh, like they were constantly shutting you down instead of supporting you. So now and your subconscious, you truly believe that you can't have the things it is that you want. You don't believe that you can be the person that you were born to be simply because other people told you you couldn't, right? Just because they couldn't, just because essentially they decided not to, because everybody has the option to change their life. That doesn't mean that success is not guaranteed for you if that's the direction that you're traveling in. If you set that intention and you pack your bags and you head that way, you're going to reach that goal, right? Now, you can't put a timeline on it, but you can assure that if you are traveling in that direction, you will be successful, right? So, what I really need everybody to do, and I think this is how I end the video, is just to really start to think about the thoughts that you're having and think about why those thoughts are reoccurring thoughts in your head. And another interesting thing is, when is the last time you had a new thought about money? When is the last time you had a new thought about success, something you actually wanted to go after? Like, when is the last time you introduced new ideas into your mind that allowed you to actually change your mind about something, right? Are you stuck in your ways, or are you open to changing because the way that you've been doing things has not been working for you, right? Now, this is only, again, episode 1 of season 3. So we are going to dive into these topics a lot deeper because I think that we need to have these conversations more often. I personally, I'm in a community where I'm having these conversations all the time. And I'm 30 years old, but prior to coming into this environment with other people who were constantly talking about wealth, different ways to build wealth, different ways to obtain success, different ways to believe in yourself, to build confidence, I would be in the same position that you may be in now, right? I was not surrounded by these types of people, but again, they are out there, right? You have to essentially find your tribe, right? Find the people who are going to program you with the things that you want to hear and experience, and stop being disappointed by keeping yourself in an environment that you think you need to be in simply because you've already been there, because that's 100% not true, right? That's 100% not true. There are new millionaires popping up every single day simply because they took the risk. Everybody's journey is not going to be the same. You're not going to hit your goal at the same time they hit their goal. But the only difference between you and somebody who's already made millions or billions or whatever your aspirations are is the fact that they started sooner, right? They came into some information before you came into it, and they started their journey sooner. Like, they made a decision to do this thing, and they're doing this thing. So I highly encourage you guys, especially the people who you see yourself, just like you literally can see it, right? Because I'm the type of person, like, I'm such a clear sentient person. Like, I can feel the success. Like, I can see the nice scenery. Like, I can see my infinity pool. I can feel the water. I can feel the warmth, right? And if you can't feel and experience those things, it costs $0, y'all, and 0 cents to fantasize about the type of life you want to live. And it also costs $0 and 0 cents to get started to build that life you want, because people won't see it. They may not see it until you get the results, but you have to internalize it and know that you can have whatever it is that you desire in this life as soon as you start to reprogram your thoughts, as soon as you start to question the source of your current thoughts and your current beliefs. And then you be like, you know what? My mom was a hard worker, but she was expending her energy in the wrong direction. Maybe she was a super talented person, but she never used her talents because she felt more safer working. That was her life, right? You have your own, right? And you can learn from that experience and you can draw from that experience. And at the end of the day, that was her choice. But your choice may be something different, and that's perfectly fine. But is that the source of your contention? Is that the source of your results right now? Right? Because people will hate on you and people will try to limit you based on their own limitations. People will project their fears of success and finances onto you, right? And the best way to test it is to just start going around telling people I'm gonna be a millionaire and see how they respond. If their responses are negative and they start questioning you, now you got to start questioning them. Like, where did they learn that at? And how much have they influenced me into this point in my life right now? Right? It's all about the source, right? It's all about the source. What information are you putting into your body? It's going to determine what results you are getting out of your life. And that's extremely important to understand. So, I think that's all for today, guys. I definitely said a mouthful. Again, if you are vibing with this topic or you want to hear more or you just need more encouragement, you want to know a little bit more, make sure you subscribe to the channel because I do plan to post more videos. Again, you can also like this video, you can share this video, and you can also check out the other off the charts playlist as well. Just to really get your mindset right because what you're going to learn in your studies is that's the main thing. How you think, everything starts with the thought. So how you think and what you think is exactly what's going to be produced in your life. So that's all I got to say, guys. Make sure you do give me a follow on Instagram. If you do have any questions about how I started to think this way, if you want to know other ways that I found to make money and build wealth, I do have videos on my channel about that as well. That's when we're more so on the charts because I am an investor as well. And it all started with the decision. Guys, it all started with me being tired of my own crap. It started with me being tired of the circumstances and really started to question, like, why am I here? Like, how did I get here? And then I realized that a lot of it wasn't even my fault. I was just doing what I saw, doing what I thought I had to do to get what I wanted. And that's completely not true. Like, you have control of your life. You have control of the thoughts that you choose to accept. You have control of the content you choose to put into your mind. You have control of the music you listen to. You have control of the people you talk to. Again, you just have complete control over what you choose to accept into your subconscious and what you choose to reject and let go because it's not in alignment with where you truly see yourself. So, again, this has been Off the Charts. I'm your host, Cha Cha, and I look forward to another amazing episode and conversation with you guys. So, toodles.